Welcome back to the Kane and Day Show. I am your host, Kane. You can find me on Twitter at Killing Kane and YouTube at Killing Kane. I'm going to kick it down to Day here. He'll introduce himself, and we have a very special guest today.
That's true. My name's Day. You can find me on Twitter at Realdaygaming1, and follow the show on Twitter, the Kane and Day Show.
Yeah,
the PR guy's really been working hard.
I don't have to go to HR this week.
No, you don't. And Jaron, if you want to introduce the guest.
Yeah, so today we have a very special guest, my brother, Coach Red. I'm gonna shoot it over to him now. He'll introduce himself and plug his things.
Name's Coach Red. You can find me on Twitter at therealcoachred. And that's where we're going to leave it at. You don't need to know my Instagram. I don't have any YouTubes like you guys do. So, wow.
And you want to plug the show?
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Free shout-outs.
Yeah.
Man, how many shout-outs do I have? You can catch the show with my namesake, Kicking It with Coach Red, out there on all of the podcasting websites, mainly on Spotify, and also Fix Your Franchise. But that one's in the off season right now. We only go between end of the Super Bowl to the start of the NFL draft. So for your local Seattle sports news, head over to Kicking It with Coach Red, where we're recording tomorrow.
It's a great listen to. It really is.
True.
All right, we're gonna kick off with NFL Week 7. What an interesting weekend.
Oh, that was something. At least we got some points on Thursday, huh?
Oh, dude, we'll get to it in a minute, but I think first I want to kick it off with trades, and I want to send it to Coach Red here, because let's talk about them, kind of see the fits and how the season will move forward for these teams. So go ahead, Coach Red.
I think the trade that you're really alluding to is the Christian McCaffrey trade going to the 49ers, and the 49ers giving up their second, third, and fourth round pick this year after already giving up their first round to the Dolphins in the Trey Lance move up. And John Lynch is sitting there with less needs. They're both saying, fuck them picks, because they aren't picking but once in the first 2 days of the draft. Yeah. So this is a big swing. This is a team that was sitting at 3-3 before the weekend that's making a swing for the fences in a division that's kind of up in the air right now and thinking they're one piece away. So the future of the team is a little bit mortgaged here. But if you look at this, if you can incorporate Christian McCaffrey into this offense, you see Deebo Samuel, who has acted as a running back in the past. You can flex out Christian McCaffrey as that true wideout as well. So you can actually have more positionless players. And I think that's what you get in spades, because you have, Kittle, Deebo, and now you throw Run CMC in there.
I mean, you can't forget Ayuk, because Ayuk is also slated to be one of those next top tier guys that people talk about of how much upside he has.
I think that if you look in this year in a bubble, I think that enhances it. But I think if you're looking towards the future, that you're going to have to make a decision whether you're keeping Christian McCaffrey or whether you're keeping Ayuk, because what's the Jimmy G thing going to pan out? Is Trey Lance the answer? When are you going to pay Nick Bosa? How much are you going to pay Nick Bosa? The cap's a real thing, and you can kind of see that a little bit this year with the Rams, where they have those top-tier guys, and when they aren't playing at that top-tier level, it can really put a hamper on your season. And they sat there, lost their cornerstone, and Andrew Whitworth decided to go with Noteboom, and the dude can't stay healthy and is kind of an open door a little bit. Matthew Stafford getting slung around. So you look at the big-name guys, Trent Williams, old, and still a good player when he's on the field. But the 49ers, year in, year out, have always kind of struggled with injuries. So this is an all-in move that really puts the onus on this season. And then you go to the Super Bowl rematch and watch them get housed by the Chiefs.
Ooh, he's got the Chiefs going. Oh, that's fair. That's fair. Another trade that actually happened, too, was, right after the weekend, Robbie Anderson, I believe we talked about it last week, too, but he got dealt to Arizona, which is huge in CMC or with D-Hop's return. So, I mean, they're only getting one more good week out of Kyler. And then...
Yeah, because they play in Minnesota on Sunday, so they
got
travel
XP,
day on Friday.
Baby. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he won't be able to play.
He does have a statistical drop-off when COD drops. So going throughout the rest of the season, I mean, them getting Robbie Anderson fills Hollywood's spot. But, I mean, that Cardinals team also can become good if they have all three of them on the field.
Yeah, I think the Robbie Anderson trade for the Cardinals was really good. But, I mean, nothing's more shocking than CMC getting moved.
The one that
I told you last week that he wasn't going to get moved.
And what did I say?
Well, I jinx everything. So
what did I say, Ben?
You should have put a lot of money on it because you would have won.
I can't do that. I live in a state that can't do that.
That's a tough scene.
That is. But hey, I did say CMC was getting moved by the end of the week, and he was. So another time where I'm right.
Baker's having a good time over there in Charlotte, huh?
Hey, I owned up to that one. But I think one of the most shocking kind of trades was James Robinson getting dealt to the Jets.
Great for me.
Yeah, great for me too.
Yeah. I took ETN in the third round. Oh yeah,
gotta love
him. But it's great for him. I mean, the Jags clearly weren't going to use him. They want to run ETN more, and now he gets the chance to shine in New York.
Well, I think that the Jets ran into a real big problem because Breece Hall was incredible so far this year.
Right.
And he goes down with that ACL, and they're scratching their head at what do we do now?
I was shocked.
So young.
I was shocked to see Michael Carter. This is year 2.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was shocked to see that he's not the guy, but as you know, me and Coach Red here were talking earlier. He's more your third down.
It's not Red. It's Coach Red.
I'm sorry. I'm just so used to being so formal with you or informal with you. But yeah, it makes Michael Carter your third down guy still. Going for more pass catching. Yeah.
That's where he shines. And you look at James Robinson early in his career, even earlier this season, the first couple of weeks, he was balling out for the Jags. ETN's still kind of getting involved. So now you sit there, you incorporate him into a spot where he's comfortable. You're going into a rush-heavy offense. Zach Wilson still learning the position, still getting healthy. You insert him to take that Breece Hall early workload. Let Michael Carter feast where he does best, being a third down back that can handle some early down responsibilities. So in doing so, you gave up a 6th round, which is inconsequential in this because the Jets are riding high. They're trying to keep the ball rolling, and losing Breece Hall for the year with the ACL is a big hamper to what they were going to do. And I think that you kind of saw that a little bit with the Jags not really playing Robinson because he is dealing with a little bit of a knee. So you looked at them seeing CMC get traded within the week to a team that has traditionally done so well with undrafted guys off the scrap pile, late round picks with the 49ers. You're looking for a guy that has been an established starter in this league, has had good production. He's been over 1,000 yards his first couple of years. James Robinson insert into that backfield, making Zach Wilson's life a little bit easier.
I agree. I 100% agree. And you know, to tip on that, the dude was an undrafted guy, right?
Undrafted. Yeah. You had Lenny Fournette. They didn't want to pay him, cut him. God, I don't even remember the guy's name. He was my go-to guy that it was my waiver wire, week 1 pickup that year. He went down with bad COVID and was out for the entire season. Insert James Robinson, undrafted free agent, and he just didn't want to let the job go.
The fact that they only got a 6 out of that's crazy because, like you said, he's an established guy. And this is year 3?
But he's not.
I think so.
He's not a dynamic playmaker. He's a very good running back. He averages, 4 to 5 yards a carry. He does it between the tackles. He's good at that stretch, hitting the edge. But if you look at those guys that are going to be traded for bigger dollars, you're looking at guys like CMC, who's a game changer in multiple facets, where you can afford to give up that capital. Right now, the running back room in general is the 10th highest paid position group in the NFL. Shorter shelf life. That's why the McCaffrey trade doesn't make a ton of sense. But when you look at a James Robinson, who's more of a traditional guy that doesn't give you necessarily that big playability, he's just going to be that grinded out. He's going to average 5 to 6 yards a carry, get you what you need, be good in the red zone. He's not that game changer that warrants, a day 2 pick.
Right. Okay, that makes sense then. So, with all those out of the way, and well, I guess the Cowboys made a trade earlier today too for a defensive tackle.
Yeah, okay, because that's gonna make a difference.
That's something I saw earlier. I think it was like a 4th round pick for him, something like that. I think. But
Wrong way.
let's get into Thursday's game. I mean, it was good. I mean, they've had a track record recently of not having fantastic Thursday night primetime games.
You want my tagline?
Yeah, go ahead.
My tagline for Saints versus Cardinals on Thursday was, "At least we scored touchdowns on Thursday."
That's true. And you know what's sad? The viewership was way down. Let me tell you.
You know,
I
don't know.
7.4.
I don't know what's worse: how much money Amazon paid for Thursday Night Football, or
$68 million a week,
or them running Amazon Prime ads during the broadcast.
How awkward is it hearing Kirk Herbstreit not on a college football call? Because him in the NFL, it seems forced.
It is forced, but you know what? He does his homework.
He does. He's
I don't
a
like Kirk
consummate
Herbstreit.
professional.
I don't like him, but during the football season, Mandy, you got to give him some credit with all the miles he puts on.
Yeah.
Because he goes from Thursday, then he's got to do all the interviews and production for College Game Day, wherever it is. Last week it was in Eugene. And then he's got to go call a different football game. It's sometimes not even in College Game Day.
I mean, it goes to your point where you're like, you may not like Joe Buck, but you respect the fuck out of him.
Yep.
Oh, especially when he was doing World Series games and Thursday night and Sunday baseball or Sunday football. Come on now.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
But no, the offenses really came out. D-Hop's return. Oh, you're blinding yourself. But
I'm getting ahead.
Yeah, there was a lot of points scored. I know didn't Tyson Hill go down with an injury, or Taysom Hill? I'm pretty sure I saw that he got hurt, and so they couldn't go to Jameis because I don't think they trust Jameis either.
What are you talking about? Andy Dalton accounted for 6 total TDs, 4 to his own team and 2 to the other.
Yeah.
Well, hey, that was one of the most iconic
Flips
replays I've ever seen.
That was money. So good.
They
perfect.
I saw the Twitter post up of the guy diving into the end zone, and it's just like art. That was funny.
Andy Dalton, 360 yards, 4 TDs. You know, he had 3 picks. 2 of those went for pick sixes right before half. Which really derailed the game because other than that, the Cardinals were fairly mediocre on offense. They played a game good enough to win, and their defense bailed them out with the 34-42 game. Without those 2 pick sixes, the Cardinals were looking at another bad loss.
Yeah.
So the one thing,
Andy Dalton's looking good though.
So one of the things here with the Saints, right, is they're gonna get a lot better once Michael Thomas steps on the field.
Well, that's the problem. He has to get on the field.
Exactly. I know. My fantasy team is fucking hurting because of it.
That's why you should have taken him.
Hey,
you should have went for Chris Olave.
I didn't draft him. I got him traded to me because this is in my dynasty league. Well, you lose some, motherfucker. All right.
You lose. In this case, you lose some, you lose most.
That's true. I've been winning, so still have a good team.
That's like.
But I think things turn around. And another thing for them is Alvin Kamara has to get in the end zone. He's getting the yards, both receiving and rushing. He's just not finding the end zone. And that's a huge problem for the Saints team because he's a high productivity guy, right?
Nailed it.
Words are hard. I'm not used
English
to.
Isn't your first language? It's okay.
That's all right. But I think if he starts scoring, Michael Thomas steps on the field, this Saints team isn't bad, especially with Andy Dalton at the head.
Let's look at the bright side. Even if Jameis Winston comes back and does what he did last year before the knee injury, or Andy Dalton continues to be a serviceable guy, which he has been, they're one game out of first place in surprisingly down NFC South.
Yeah, I agree.
That's scary.
But on the other side of the ball, I mean, Cardinals defense showed up, especially for back-to-back drives. 2 pick sixes.
That's about the only time they showed up the whole game.
Hey, it only takes those times, right?
Much in the
if
clutch.
the Lions had that, they would have beat the Seahawks weeks ago. So
that's true.
Very true.
That's true.
You just needed one stop. They got two. They happen to be pick sixes.
But yeah, Kyler Murray is average at best.
He's a toddler.
He is a toddler running around in the backfield. And like you said, there is a statistical drop off once he starts playing Call of Duty again.
Oh yeah.
It's not like, as we've said before, there's a reason they put that in his clause when he signed his contract and then took it off. Like, he is a gamer.
Also with Kyler, you look at Cliff Kingsbury, he's always been a guy that starts early and fades super hard. But I think that also corresponds with Kyler Murray and his recklessness, abandon in the backfield, running around and taking those extra hits, where once Kyler Murray loses his legs a little bit and loses half a step, he's not nearly as an effective player because he's not going to be able to sit back in the pocket. You saw that towards the end of last year when they limped into the playoffs and got ousted big time by the Rams, where he's not the same guy if you take his legs away from him. And I think that over the course of a full NFL season, what he does isn't conducive with his frame to be able to hold up over 17 plus.
That sounds exactly like Robert Griffin.
Or Cam Newton.
Robert Griffin was about 6'2", 6'3". Kyler Murray still can't ride some of the rides.
Well, I think the other problem with Kyler is, like you said, with him running around, like one of these times he's gonna end up he might end up like Tua, and he'll learn the hard way.
Yeah, I mean,
I think that's what it take to get him to stop that.
I mean, you saw it with Russ for years, right? A smaller guy in the league. He used his legs a lot, and then he started getting older, and didn't want to run. And I think that's his problem now is he doesn't want to run. He can have open field in front of him, and he's just like, I'm gonna check it down because he doesn't want to get hit. And I get that. You know, he's been a veteran. Yeah, that's true. But it's also he started doing that like 3 or 4 years ago. All right, when he was still in his 20s.
Hey, I think that maybe I know this is my first time on the pod, and I don't want to lead the show, but I think we've given more time to Thursday Night Football than Thursday Night Football has given to it.
That's fair.
That's 6 people up there.
I don't know. They're in such bad divisions. I mean, I guess the NFC West isn't bad, but it's just like it's so sporadic. It's sporadic. But so is that NFC South. It's just crazy how the tides have turned from last year. And so our first game of Sunday though, we have Browns-Ravens. And I'm pretty well, no, that was last week, right?
No, Browns-Ravens this week. You want the tagline?
Yeah, go ahead.
Any run you can do, I can do better. Because the passing attack was not on full display. Even though Jacoby Brissett was super efficient and was hitting his targets, this all boiled down to the run game.
Hey, yeah, Lamar was 9 for 16.
Shout out David Njoku for actually catching like 8 passes.
Yeah.
Shout out to
Justin Tucker, just still winning games for the Ravens year after year.
Yeah. I take him 5th every single year.
5th round.
Yep, 5th round.
You don't do too well in fantasy, do you, Dave?
I was actually undefeated into week like 7 or 8 last year, and then whenever Derrick Henry got hurt, that's when it all went south.
That makes sense.
I feel that. I felt that real hard.
2-5 this year. Thank you.
Hey, me too.
That's another reason Justin Tucker scores more than most of my flex players. I'm just throwing that out there.
That's fair.
He is a guaranteed 10 to 15 points a week.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, so, I mean, when Lamar doesn't do much.
9 completions.
9 for 16. At least Jacoby went 22 for 27.
Let him have it. Let him have it on Lamar. Let's go, Ben.
I mean, it makes sense to still keep going after pass catchers in the first round, right? When they're not going to throw it to him, when they're just going to go to Mark Andrews. Makes total sense.
And they traded away Hollywood, too.
I mean, they didn't need him. They got Rashad Bateman, so they can't throw the ball to him.
Oh, yeah. He went 4 for 5, 42 yards. 4 catches on 5 targets. Not too bad.
I mean,
That was half his cat. That was half the receptions.
But this was a big return game for Gus Edwards, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, they still won by 3.
Hey, you're coming off of over a year being injured, and you give up you put up like 70-something yards, 2 touchdowns.
66.
That was close.
Hop on the Gus bus.
But hey, I'm just glad he's back and he can go into my rotation now.
That defense doesn't know how to play football in the second quarter. Let me tell you, they're scaring me.
Their defense has been atrocious all year.
All year.
Which is crazy because you look at the talent across the board. I mean, you invest in Kyle Hamilton, who slid in as a stud. You've got guys that have performed for a long time: Marlon Humphreys, Marcus Peters. You look at that. You look at Patrick Queen. You look at Tyus Bowser. I mean, you're looking at this team that should be, after somewhat of a down year, like reestablishing themselves, doing it the Raven way. But my big question, and it's always been that, is how far can you go with a run first quarterback? Because that's how I've always seen Lamar, even coming out of college where he had about a 50% completion. He had some years where he was bigger, especially in that MVP season where he was about 65%. But he's regressed back to the mean and is sitting there, closer to that 50 to 60 in today's NFL. Completing 9 passes in a game and getting a win, very rare.
I mean, the weather wasn't fantastic, but it wasn't as bad as that blizzard the Patriots and Bills played in Orchard Park last year, where it was 50-mile-an-hour winds.
That's
fair. 3 passes attempted.
That. Yeah, you expect very little passing. So I saw worse weather in Philly when they played Jacksonville, and both quarterbacks were over 20, 25 attempts. How do you only have 16 pass attempts? Forget the 9 completions. They only had 16 pass attempts.
I mean, when you only try to throw to Mark Andrews, it's kind of your downfall because everybody knows you're going there.
Hey, Dave put out a good thing. Rashad Bateman caught a good chunk of those passes.
It was 4 out of 9, and he had 5 targets.
Yeah, but it's just tough because
almost 33%.
Like you have decent receivers. You've had decent receivers your whole career, basically. And
Devin Duvernay is like their standout. He's like low round guy. It's like you've always had these guys that can do those things.
Like go back to Willie Snead a couple years ago, who just everything he threw over the middle, Willie Snead dragged in. Like he gets these average guys, and they're they catch the ball. That's all they need to do. But when your quarterback runs around and just takes it himself, how's your team gonna they should be blowing teams out.
I think they should just transition to the wishbone or the triple option. Get Paul Johnson. I know he's retired from Georgia Tech. Let's just run that triple option. Put pressure on the defense. Have one guy on the outside and just chuck it up to him every once in a while.
Yeah.
Why not?
I mean, surprisingly, actually, Lamar didn't lead the team in rushing.
That's a shock for once.
By 7. But he didn't lead the team.
Yeah, that's a shock. But on the other side, though, the Browns are the Browns. I think Deshaun Watson actually starts when he comes back. They're not in a super great position.
Why would you trade the capital you did and give him the contract you did if he's not starting
what I was saying is if they are in the playoffs, don't fix what's not broken, especially since he hasn't seen the field in so long. I just figure
Jacoby Brissett doesn't know what the playoffs is.
I'm aware of that, but
that's not true.
Well, he did.
He was
there, backing up TB12
and Andrew Luck.
But I mean, he did fine.
He's efficient.
He is.
I mean, Dave, you probably have the stats on this. Where was Jacoby Brissett sitting at? I mean, he was super efficient. I think he had 3 guys about 80 yards.
Amari, Donovan, and David all had above 70. It was 74, 71, 71.
I mean, he dishes it out.
Targets.
And then you had Nick Chubb being Nick Chubb. 91 and a touchdown.
Kareem only had 5 carries, 4 yards.
And didn't he get a touchdown too?
No. Talk about the next running back on the trade block.
Yeah, I'm actually shocked he's not gone already. If it's today's Tuesday?
Yeah, I mean you have till November 1st.
Next Tuesday.
I think some trades are going to happen, and they're going to be bigger than they are. Like, I was shocked that CMC didn't go to the Bills, because that was the team I thought he was going to.
Kareem Hunt's still in play.
Yeah, that wouldn't be bad pairing him with Devin Singletary. But,
I mean, why do you hate Zach Moss, Kane? Why do you hate Zach Moss?
Because he can't hold the ball. Let me tell you, I could tell you all about that one too.
And then,
Fair.
And then Dalvin's brother, I don't think is really seen much.
He can't hold the ball either.
Yeah, first carry, couldn't do it. He's been in the doghouse ever since.
But yeah, the Browns. I mean, it was a key division game, and you have to win those, especially all they gave up for Deshaun Watson. But let's go to the next game, which is interesting. That this Carolina defense held them to 3.
I need to hear the tagline for this one, please.
C is CMC. Let Chuba and Foreman run free.
That's good. That's a good
Because
one.
between the two,
I was expecting some more Tampa slander, but that's okay.
I was gonna hold that for later. I had 2 notes written down, and one of them was Chuba and Donta Foreman combined for 181 on the ground in CMC's departure. And what the fuck is up with the Bucs offense? That's what I said about. That's what I said about.
You know.
Hey, shout out to Hubbard for
nailed it
for getting me points this week. Pick up by me.
I mean, I don't get it. I really don't. The Panthers aren't that good.
And they rolled PJ fucking Walker out there.
Yep, PJ Walker.
He had the 4th highest QBR this weekend.
And he is the starter now.
He went 16 for 22, so I mean that helps your passer rating a lot.
They did announce that he was going to continue to be the starter.
I mean, I just don't get it. With that win, they're like
XFL
one game out of the
legend.
playoffs.
Yeah, yeah, he is.
One game out of the playoffs.
It shocked me. I did not think that they were going to win this game. This should be 4 in a row for Tom, or 5?
Well, when you have Mike Evans wide open with nobody within 25 yards of him drop a wide open touchdown,
dude,
and make me ram my head through a wall.
Brady just,
that's not even on Brady. That's just Mike Evans dropping.
No, I don't even think it's Brady. I think that if you look at this team, for the past 2 years, they've tried to run it back as best as possible with that Super Bowl team. They've lost some established pieces and tried to fill them in with younger guys. You lose JPP, you lose Ndamukong Suh on the defensive side. You lose some guys on the offensive line due to injury, and you keep running out the same guys. Chris Godwin's had trouble staying healthy. Lenny Fourn's is hit or miss week in, week out. You've tried to draft running backs every single year to try and fill that Ronald Jones void that you never actually had. But when you look at this team as a whole, you have no Gronk anymore. That's his safety valve. He's still getting used with Cameron Brate being out. Cade Otton's actually been a pretty surprising.
That's your boy too.
For him. Love Cade Otton, love Washington football, but at the same time, when you sit there and try, oh Jesus, throw the O down, please. Get out of here. God, distracted me from a take. But if you look at it, they've realistically tried to run back the same guys, and you've had injuries, you had everything else, and they're sitting there. And not a big Bruce Arians fan, but I think you got the most out of that team. I think when you revert back to who's the head coach there right now?
Todd Bowles.
Todd Bowles. When you see Todd Bowles' success in the NFL, it's tough to see because he hasn't had much as a head coach. And I think that...
And you had those Mark Sanchez years in New York.
The Mark Sanchez years. But his defense was always on par. But when you look at this defense right now, you supplanted some of those guys with young draft picks along the defensive line. You're expecting Shaq Barrett, who's now getting older, to still produce like he did in that career year once he came to the team. I think that's a little unrealistic, and they need to augment what they're doing offensive and defensively, especially in a down year. Figure out what's going to work. if that means, not letting Tom Brady chuck it up downfield and getting back to those New England years when he was hitting Edelman for 5-6 yards and letting those guys make moves, I think that will probably be more advantageous for him going forward, because Mike Evans can make some guy miss. Obviously, his best attribute is getting over the top. But if you can throw a wide receiver screen, if he makes one or two guys miss, he's going to the house either way. So simplify the offense a little bit. Byron Leftwich, get it together. Get yourself a head coaching job next year, because if you can turn it around, this is a good example of how you can lead a team.
Right, and then, speaking of this Bucs team, like, next year's the year to go for probably a quarterback, right?
They got quarterbacks. So. What are you talking about? Blaine Gabbert's there. He's fine.
Stop it.
What about kid out of Florida, Trask, Kyle Trask? Come on.
Oh, that's right. They did draft him. But
I have more faith in Ian Book in New Orleans than I do with Kyle Trask in Tampa.
Fair.
And I don't like Ian Book at all.
But the Panthers, though, they looked decent this week.
They looked like an NFL football team.
Yeah.
Which they haven't for most of the year.
Well, I could tell you why. That head coach was awful.
Oh, yeah.
You could see what happens when you lose an NFL locker room. Nobody wanted to play for him.
Good old Matt Rule, baby.
He looked like a moron out there, too, but that's just my personal opinion.
Day, I know that you're a Lions fan. If I'm not
I am not a Lions fan.
He's a Chargers fan.
Okay, I was going to say hallelujah, because nothing gets much worse than the backwards hat from old Matt Patricia with the pencil there, just trying to figure out how to do something. And now he's the half offensive coordinator for the Patriots. Man.
Don't worry, I have a good Lions stat when we get there.
Oh, I'd like to hear it.
Yeah,
let's jump to our next game, though. Marcus Mariota couldn't replicate last week. That's for sure.
Well, you can't win them all.
When you probably go up against one of the best defenses in the league and torch them, you'd think you playing Cincinnati, you'd probably play a little better. But Jamar Chase. Now that's a dude.
This is another one of those problems where it's 8 for 13. You're not winning a game going 8 for 13. I love Mariota.
You got to hit 9. You got to hit 9 completions to win that game.
That's true, and 16 attempts. But you're not going to beat the Bengals. It also doesn't help. Joe Burrow hit all of his betting stats by halftime. He had his passing yard over. He had his passing touchdown over. His completion over. The team hit the team over. Everything was just over.
Yeah, and it was great for my fantasy team. That's all that's important.
See, I said this is a Super Bowl state of mind because this looked like the offense that led them to the Super Bowl last year.
I agree.
Jamar Chase was open. Yeah. Tyler Boyd was making catches.
Hold on. Coach Red, tagline?
I said it, Super Bowl state of mind.
Oh.
They got back to it. Mm-hmm. But then I also want to throw a little bit of shade at the Falcons here. And that's maybe you should throw the ball to the two guys that you drafted in the top 10 in back-to-back years. Between Kyle Pitts and Drake London, they combined for 4 catches for 18 yards.
Yeah.
They only had 6 targets.
That's insane. Jamari Bird got loose once for a 75-yard bomb. But other than that, if you take that out of their offensive equation, only thing they did was on the ground, which is basically how they've been surviving all year.
I can get behind that because, Kyle Pitts, he's back. He's healthy. Get him the fucking ball. He's not a tight end. He's a wide receiver.
And as pass catchers, to not throw them the ball.
I agree.
You go look. Jamar Chase was a top 10 pick. Jalen Waddle, top 10 pick. Devonta Smith last year was 11. Might have been 10 because I think
it was between 10 and 20.
Yeah, throw those guys the balls. You don't draft them in the top 10. Do not throw them the ball. It's not like Kevin White's out there with the Bears as a top 10 pick. It's not like Brashard Perriman with the New York Jets. Those were top 10 guys back in the day. You can get these pass catchers involved very early. Do it. Mm-hmm. Arthur Smith, do it.
I agree. But the Bengals were just on all cylinders.
Yeah, like I said, that game was over at halftime.
Joe Burrow throwing the ball with ease. Jamar Chase running all over guys. It's scary when this offense clicks. You get Joe Mixon going. That gets T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd open. Like Hayden Hurst.
They're a complete offensive team.
They are.
When they're clicking.
Defense just needs to step up.
Their defense isn't too bad either.
Most weeks they need to step up. Like
it didn't help that you lost Trey Hendrickson in that game as well.
So
yeah, that hurts a lot actually.
I mean, it was a great like, hey, we're here. Don't forget about us game.
Hello, we're still here.
So the next game we got here, Lions at Cowboys. And man,
I just want to say, Dan Campbell has more wins as an intern or interim head coach that he does in a year and a half with the Lions.
Hey, well, we're all Dan Campbell guys here.
No, I'm starting to lose faith because they're going for his head here. Let me tell you.
Oh,
I hope not. I think that they should have been committed to the long term, and I think they've been doing things by getting a good base around this. And I've talked to Keen about this a few times. You build that base around it because you look at Jared Goff. He's a capable quarterback. He's an above-average game manager when he's on time. When he gets out of rhythm, he is absolutely terrible. But when he's on time, he can hit his reads and he's pretty solid. Mm-hmm. Issue that you see is if you don't build up that core and then just drop a young quarterback in there, you have this week excluded Justin Fields. This guy getting in too early. He's in over his head. He does not have the line to do it. I think right now you're building that. I think the defense for the Lions needs more work than the offense does.
I think they need one more guy on the other side of Aiden or maybe a linebacker because Okuda's been playing like they drafted him 3rd overall in 20. Yeah. It's 2 years late, but I think he's finally playing to where Sauce Gardner's playing right now for the Jets. That's what the Lions expected in 2020.
I mean, they also had that other guy lined up on the other side of Okuda. It's the guy with the super long name.
Oh, yeah, I'm not even going to attempt to say that one.
I mean, they expect... It starts with an A, I know that. But they expected him to be lockdown too.
Well, and I said...
It doesn't matter if Aiden's the only one getting to the quarterback. It's the same concept I've been saying this whole time with the Lions is you could throw that, and I always say it, the Legion of Boom in their prime, in that secondary with the Lions defensive front, and it's not going to matter.
Mm-hmm.
Because they can only cover for so long with no pressure on the quarterback. I could stand back there. Any of the three of us could stand back there for 10 seconds and find somebody open.
Yeah, there was. I saw some things, some ignorant people on the internet saying
there's none of those. Come on.
Saying
all
that
opinions matter.
The Cowboys can rival Philadelphia.
Yeah, they're outside their fucking marbles.
Because last time I checked, Philly's undefeated.
That's true.
Cooper Rush.
People climbing poles.
Cooper Rush went 5-1.
Do you want 5-2?
No.
I checked.
He lost. He didn't lose 2 games.
Yeah, they lost to the Eagles.
He lost that game, but then he
lost
the first game.
But he didn't start the opener.
Yeah,
that's true.
So he's 5-1. Do
you want the tagline?
Yes, I do.
Dallas's defense is lit.
Micah Parsons is incredible.
5 sacks, 2 picks. I mean, if you're having those type of stat lines as a defense, Dan Quinn, like this defense is played out of their mind all year, but this is the epitome because you've seen games where the Lions offense can get it rolling. It does not help that they were missing DeAndre Swift, DJ Chark, and Amon-Ra St. Brown goes down in the first quarter. That's not going to be a recipe for success with the Lions.
No, especially when you're just trying to run the ball with
one guy.
Jamal Williams.
Jamal Williams. I don't know if you guys have brought this up or you saw the Hard Knocks, but one of my favorite things that he said was like, we need a bunch of dogs. If you're going to be scared like a puppy, go piss on the porch. Like, I want to go block for that guy. Like, I want to do stuff for that guy.
I always say it, I don't like Jared Goff. I think he's an awful quarterback.
Goff.
I
if you say his name like that, it sounds like you might be choking on like a phallic like shaped thing.
You know,
Change your life, Day.
I don't like Jared at all. Just don't.
I mean, that's fair. That is fair.
Compared to Matthew Stafford, I'd rather watch the Lions have Matthew Stafford back with the team that's there.
True, but you wouldn't have the team that's there with Matthew Stafford, though.
That's a fair point. But I'm just hypothetically, I'd rather see Matthew Stafford back.
I'm surprised they didn't swing for the fences and go like second or third round for Blake Willis. Perfect
Willis?
guy.
Oh, no.
Perfect guy to sit.
I don't like him. You know what? Put Jared back in. Put Jared back.
Run it back out.
I don't like. I think Malik went to Liberty.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Tell me
he
who
did.
Liberty plays. Tell me 3 teams in their conference.
Dignity, prosperity.
Exactly. You can't tell me 3 teams. This is the same stuff I go on with Trey Lance. Tell me 3 teams that North Dakota State actually played.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, our cousin is a huge Trey Lance believer.
That's tragic.
Yeah, he tells me all the time. I'm like, you're better off with Jimmy. He's like, nah, Trey Lance is better. It's like
Trey Lance had what, 13 starts in college?
Yeah.
Yeah, North Dakota State. That's not Alabama. Last I checked. That's
But there
not
are
Georgia.
quite a few. There are quite a few guys in the league from North Dakota State.
Oh, you mean
Name
Carson Wentz?
Yeah,
Carson
name 'em.
Wentz?
Carson Wentz, Trey Lance, and who?
Wasn't Cooper Rush there?
No, he went to Central Michigan.
Yeah, CMU. Shout out to Go Chips, by the way.
Chippewas all the day, all day, every day. Go to the next.
But
one.
in Dak's
We've talked
return,
about these
Yeah.
guys.
in Dak's return though,
Dak's return, Zeke Elliott turned into who he was before.
yeah,
It's
and
a sad pass rush.
he only throws to CeeDee Lamb because he does not trust Michael Gallup whatsoever.
Cooper Rush would have thrown to Michael Gallup.
I know he would. My fantasy team would have thrived this week, even more than it did. But I was an idiot, and I started Gallup.
Oh, yeah, 0 points. That's good.
Yeah. Hey, I still won, though. That's a huge win. But, I mean, Dak came back, looked good. I do not think this team goes anywhere. Their defense cannot carry them all year long.
I think they can.
Not in the playoffs.
Defense wins championships. Look at
So does the quarterback
2001
standing up.
Ravens.
So does the quarterback standing up.
I don't know. Lincoln Financial's going to be pretty riled up. They might start climbing poles again.
Fair.
Putting points on the board on your offense also wins you championships.
24. That's above league average.
But all of that,
26, baby.
they stomped the Lions. It was not a great day for them. I mean,
Well, it was 6-3 at halftime. If you want to find a positive for the Lions,
that's a win, I guess.
and then they didn't score.
Our next game though, the Giants are 6-1.
It tilts me into oblivion.
Just 6-1.
Absolute oblivion.
I agree. I don't understand what's going on here. Like,
Duke is a basketball school, not a football school. Where the hell did Daniel Jones come from?
that's a good point.
It's just-
Also, red flag on this Jaguars team. Trevor Lawrence, I don't think he's the move.
give him time.
He's got to change something. We've said this before. He's really got to change something.
Yeah, he's got to change his GM so he can draft him competent offensive linemen and not sign Cam Robinson to a long-term extension when he's never proved that he could be an adequate pass-blocking starting left tackle in the league. Red flag.
To your red flag. Got him.
Trevor Lawrence has everything you want. You've partnered him with Travis Etienne.
Mhm.
Etienne's getting back on the thing. The other thing they do is they give ridiculous contracts to mid-tier wide receivers.
Yeah, Christian Kirk.
Christian Kirk, Marvin Jones, the ghost of Marvin Jones. Marvin Jones
He lost
is
his soul in
almost
Detroit.
applying for retirement.
Well, he should.
But they paid him, what, a 3-year, 30 mil? Like 10 mil a year to Marvin Jones is not what I'm about.
They also spent a lot of money on 1 year of Evan Ingram.
I mean, that's not a bad play for them. It's a bounce back thing. And if he plays well, he might want to take that little discount there. But you ready for the tagline?
Yes, we are.
Big Dick Dable.
Better than Joe Judge.
Because Brian Dable is sitting there and creating a culture, because you could go ask 1 million Giants fans if any of them would have expected to be at 6-1 and win the way they're doing, and you wouldn't find one person that would have believed you. So Dable's created a culture, but I mean, their pass catching options are what? Not Kenny Golladay, who they paid money to,
or
not Kadarius Toney, who they spent a first round pick on. Like,
Yep.
You're sitting there piecing it together in your offensive, pass catching group with just a terrible group of guys, and you're relying on Saquon Barkley, and I'll even say Danny Nichols, because I don't call him Danny Dimes because he doesn't throw any. I mean, Danny Nichols and Saquon Barkley both over 100 yards this last week on the ground.
I mean,
healthy.
Daniel Jones has shown in the past he can run, but
and he can trip over the 10-yard line too.
Got him. Get shit on.
You got to watch out; those lines will come out of nowhere on him.
But good to him.
And they were 1 yard. The Jags were legitimately 1 yard away from winning that game.
Oh yeah,
1 yard, and that was a great stop by their defensive backs. But the other thing that I'll point out there, which is why James Robinson is now up in New York with the Jets. Welcome to the league, Travis Etienne. 3 weeks over 100 yards from scrimmage.
Hey, it's about time.
Sure is.
About time. But yeah, I mean, the Jags continue to be sorry, and I don't know. It's gonna take a miracle to kind of turn them around.
They've got good pieces, and they played some pretty tight games. I think that they're a few players away, and with them continually drafting early, and I think that Doug Peterson was the right guy.
Oh, absolutely.
He's a great head coach. Fantastic.
Way better than Urban Meyer.
Yeah, at least he's not kicking.
Not hard to do.
He's not.
That's fair.
Booting kickers.
Or dancing with strippers in Columbus.
Ooh, got him.
Sorry, they're not strippers. They were just nice ladies.
Our next game, though, the Commanders come out on top.
Nothing makes me more happy than watching Green Bay lose. I'm not lying. Next to Ohio State, I love watching the Packers lose.
Again, Aaron Rodgers should have just walked away. Go and host Jeopardy. Go, tagline.
What is should have hosted Jeopardy?
Got him.
He just doesn't want to be there. And he goes on Pat McAfee's show every week and just is fake as can be.
Gotta put a smile.
I guess. But, he's so fake when he's talking on that.
Would you want to be there if your team has never drafted you a pass catcher in the first round and traded away one of the top wide receivers in the league? Would you want to be there when you're throwing to the ghost of Randall Cobb, Alan Lazard, and two rookies, Christian Watson, who is the epitome of a height, weight, speed guy, but also shout out to North Dakota State, big play guy there, and Romeo Doubs. Those are your pass catchers, and Robert Tonyan, who had 1 year and that's it. Who's he gonna throw to?
No,
I'll tell you who. Since you've been talking about fantasy teams all week, he'll throw to Aaron Jones.
Right, that's exactly what he does.
Hey! Don't forget the kid out of BC,
Oh,
AJ Dillon.
yeah.
Come on now.
The guy I played this week, his name is Dylan Them Softly.
But I will say this for the Commanders, Scary Terry saved the day leading up to Halloween.
Heineke.
That's the note I wrote.
Heineke is the key.
Scary Terry got that big. He did some work against a top flight corner in Jair Alexander.
Yeah, but
touchdown catch, and that comeback was amazing.
Yeah, that's incredible. Taylor Heineke put the ball where he had to.
Yeah,
I don't think Carson Wentz can do that, and I know they gave up a lot for him. and they're gonna start him because they did that. But Taylor Heineke, I think, is a better quarterback than Carson.
I agree.
I got a lot of love for Taylor Heineke, especially how much pressure he put on the Bucks the year the Bucks won the Super Bowl.
They almost beat him.
Start.
They almost beat him.
Mm-hmm.
I know. Taylor Heineke, I think he plays a little bit too much with reckless abandon to be
with what time did he have
winner.
to learn?
Dude, he doesn't want to be on the field. He was hoping Carson didn't get he was hoping Carson didn't get hurt so he could go play fucking golf.
True. I heard Norfolk's got some good golf course out there.
He doesn't want to be on the fucking field, but he's a better quarterback than Carson Wentz is.
That's true. That's why they beat the Packers. If
Carson Wentz is a shell of himself. There is no way he bounces back. He is broken mentally and cannot be a quarterback in this league. He's like Robert Griffin III. Once you destroy his mind, he will never be the same.
Well, his leg never got shattered like Robert Griffin III did.
Yeah, I don't know.
It was on the same field, though.
It was on the same field.
But, like, I think Carson got more beatings than Robert Griffin.
It's just thrown around his body instead of one centralized location.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, he's just so mentally fucked that he's not confident anymore.
I mean, you can't harp on Wentz too bad because when he took that picture preseason looking like he was posing for senior photos in the Washington Commander Letterman's jacket. I mean, the dude looked like he was ready to take the field.
All that, then when the game's in his hand, oh god,
it never works out. But
coming.
I mean, they got the win though, which is huge. Like you said, Darren McLaurin.
It sucks that they got that win when the rest of the division is 5-2 or better.
Yeah, it's really tragic.
Not the year for the Commanders.
No, and
they're
again,
both Ron going for another losing season.
Again with Green Bay, the next 3 years are gonna be hell. And that's Aaron Rodgers' contract.
Still there.
That's music to my ears. Let me tell you.
Yeah, tell me when Jordan Love's actually gonna pan out.
Never.
Oh, he's not.
In his first game, he threw 4 picks.
Oh, come on. You put him in Kansas City with one of the loudest crowds in the NFL.
But you also put his mom in the rafters.
Well, that's the visiting team seating. You don't start him at home. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, they're not getting field passes. Get out of here.
But no, Green Bay should be worried. They should be worried for the years to come.
I think they are. I don't think they should be. I think they've been on high alert for a couple weeks right now.
Aaron Rodgers just
losing to the Jets didn't help. Losing to the Giants didn't help.
Bailey Zappi almost came back on him.
That's true. That is true. But our next game here, we have Colts and Titans. Go ahead.
Barn burner.
Go ahead, Coach Red.
The tagline I have for this: offensive touchdowns. Who needs those to win? Because guess what? The Titans didn't have one. They had a pick 6, and Randy Bullock kicked 4 field goals.
Nice, love that.
Yeah, and the Colts
their
are just
offense had 272 yards of total offense.
And that is why Matt Ryan's career is over, and Sam Ehlinger is starting on Sunday.
Did he get benched or did he get hurt?
Bench.
Both. He has a shoulder sprain and he's out.
Yeah, okay.
But they said they were going to bench him either way. But it's like, how? Like, I don't want to jump ahead too much. But is Mac Jones going to get traded for a 2nd-round pick over to the Colts?
No.
3rd round.
We'll get to that when we talk about the Patriot game. But
I mean, this game wasn't exciting.
No,
I also said this. I go, welcome back to Jonathan Taylor and old Cheeky Hines, and they combined for 128 yards total, and most of that was through the air.
That's a big ouchie.
Insane.
That's a big ouchie. What were you gonna say, Ben?
I just think that the shoulder injury is a lie. I really think they just made it up just to make it look a little bit better.
You traded for him.
Exactly. That's why I think they made up the shoulder injury. And they just straight benched him.
That's fair. I mean, he's not looked
They
good.
they said that they were going to do it either way.
Well, yeah, but I don't think he has got a shoulder injury.
Nope. Matt Ryan's gone after the year.
That's
He
crazy.
might be gone soon.
Well, they're going to keep him on the roster because it's dead money either way.
Get
So
retired.
might as well put Matty on ice.
Got him. Our next game, wow, the Raiders actually scored points. That's shocking.
They played the worst team in the NFL next to the Lions.
I thought they were not good, but good, according to the first episode of the season. How's that hot take going for you?
Hey, yeah, it's not going great. But
You want the tagline?
yes.
I thought
Adams
that was the
has
tagline.
8 catches, but doesn't catch another assault charge. Because after the game, he started the season, made sure there were no cameramen on the way to the locker room.
Oh man. Yeah,
That was my best tagline of the day. I thought about it earlier.
they stomped Houston.
Shocking.
I mean, yeah.
Josh Jacobs, welcome back, baby. Josh Jacobs was a beast. 20 carries, 143 yards, 3 touches.
I was talking about Josh Jacobs to somebody at work the other day. I was like, it's just so crazy that it's like he fell off for like what, 2 years?
I would say like a half a year. But he got so banged up. He had so many carries at Alabama, came to the league, took the league by storm, and it caught up to him. I mean, you look at it, it finally caught up to him, and now he's back being healthy. And you can see what kind of a game changer.
This Raiders offense is terrifying. It should be terrifying.
Yeah, but Waller
when you
can't
play,
Waller can't stay on the field. Hunter Renfrow is probably dealing with his like 17th concussion in his career.
oops, oopsie poopsie.
I mean, Mac Hollins? That dude's kind of rose out of nowhere.
Yeah, Mac Hollins is a phenomenal blocker.
And he can catch the ball. Come on now.
And then,
Yeah, but he's better at blocking.
then you have Adams. Like, they've got a good team. It's just
On paper.
their defense should be a lot better than this.
But Kane, they have 2 wins. So yeah, on paper, you look at the defense and you add in Chandler Jones to go across from Max Crosby.
Rock Ya-Sin.
You have spent a lot in the secondary, and it's just not paying off.
Not at all. And then you go over to the...
Still gave up 20 points to Houston. And my big question is, this really hurts for Houston because Davis Mills is playing like a starter, and it's going to make, when you're drafting at the top of the NFL draft again, really hard not to pull the trigger on, CJ Stroud or
Young out of
Bryce
Alabama.
Young. Yeah, it's going to be tough not to pull the trigger because Davis Mills is doing just enough to give you a glimmer of hope with no weapons to be like, he might.
I mean, they have that running back, Dameon Pierce.
He runs hard.
He's a workhorse.
San Diego State Jackrabbit. What's up?
He is a workhorse. And, he's
Not
given
San Diego State.
he's given them a little glimmer of hope as well, but they get veterans or dudes that are, like they got Sidney Jones a couple years ago, and then now he's on the Seahawks. There's a place to go to just resurge your career. I mean, they still have Brandon Cooks, don't they?
Sidney Jones was not on the Texans.
Oh, he's on the Jags. That's right.
Jags.
There was another guy.
Big shout out to the Dakotas because I think you've got more play on this episode with North Dakota State and now South Dakota State. Like the Kane Day show is putting the Dakotas on the map.
No. We're putting him on slander.
Got him.
Not
I
Pierce.
am.
Not Pierce.
Well, he went to South Dakota State. See, there's a big difference.
The
Their
Dakotas
basketball
as a
team
whole.
always plays Michigan. It's 15.
Might as well just
fantastic.
might as well just put them in the same box.
They should because there's about 5 people who live out there. So
Got him. But yeah, Texans, like you said, most likely get the first overall pick.
now they want the Lions. Well,
That's tough to say. Either way, they're taking quarterback. They kind of have to. Broncos lose again.
Shocking.
Hey,
did you see that
6 pick, baby. 6 pick.
Yeah, it's real tragic for the Broncos because they needed that draft pick. They need that draft pick badly.
Yeah, it's not looking good
Zach
for him.
Wilson would have played a little better. It's tragic that Breece Hall goes down, but I mean, you still got good targets. Garrett Wilson is.
Yeah,
I hate Ohio State with all my heart, but you know what? I think he will be a good receiver.
He's fantastic. True. He's fantastic. Not a lot happened. Breece Hall went down. Michael Carter did what he did.
Breece Hall had 4 carries for 72 yards and a touch.
Yeah,
he went down.
He is an absolute stud, and it sucks to see. Because this Jets team was really, really moving, and I'm shocked that Zach Wilson is playing as well as he has.
Me too.
And
he's not even playing that good. My tagline for this one is, who are the Jets? Because like their defense is playing good enough to win them games, but it's not like their offense is doing anything that
hats off
gives
to
you
Sauce.
faith.
It's hats off to Sauce, dude. He is
shut
down. He is shut down.
Yeah, he has shut down people, but you can look at the Jaguars when they still had Jalen Ramsey and the rest of that defense went away. The Jaguars weren't 4-2,
but they didn't have Robert Saleh as their head coach.
I do like some Robert Saleh, but you expected when he brought that guy with him from San Francisco to engineer the offense that when you get to year 2, I expect to see more out of this offense. I know that Breece Hall was feasting, and they're going to be a run-heavy offense, which kudos to them on going and getting James Robinson. Mm-hmm. But you still got to get more out of the pass game. You signed Corey Davis to a pretty decent-sized deal, and Corey Davis had 0 catches on Sunday.
And Corey Davis is very hit and miss, though. It's very hit and miss. There's weeks where he can go for 120. There's weeks where he can go for 10. Like,
it's longer than I expected. I have to take a bathroom break.
All right. But we'll just keep talking about this real quick. But the Jets have looked phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Robert Saleh, defensive heavy coach. I mean, he led that Niners team to a Super Bowl.
He sure did, and
because of their defense. And Jimmy G.
He's taking receipts. And he should.
I wish he came to Detroit because he's from Dearborn.
But this Broncos team, even with a backup, just can't do anything. They just want to kick the ball.
How many punts do they have? I think I fell asleep during this game because I was up for like 40 hours.
I really think you really got to decide what to do because Russell Wilson has looked
6 more this week. 6 more punts.
That's crazy. And, you have McManus out there just overworking his leg. Like, this is a team that signed a quarterback to $250 million. And yes, he did not play, but they have playmakers on this team.
But don't worry, I said this. I go, Brett Rippon probably just came in and said, don't worry, guys, I can score 9 points as well.
Yeah, it's a match 6 punts. A really hot start.
Dude, their punter is all pro right now. The dude is punting out of his mind right now.
I mean when you're on the field, 90% of the time, you look pretty good.
I mean, he had 3 inside the 20.
Maybe they should add him to the offense. Because if he's on there 90% of the time, I haven't seen him out there that much, but
hey, it's just like Eli said. They should have give the punter, $250 million.
Yeah.
Not a good business decision.
No, it wasn't.
And then our next game here, we have the Chiefs absolutely bending the 49ers over. Had my cousin irate about it. Jimmy G fucking sucks. They do more with Trey Lance at the helm. It's like
Kansas City just ran all over them.
Like,
They
yeah.
did what they wanted, when they wanted, however they wanted. It didn't matter. They weren't stopping them. That game was easy.
I was also telling him, I was like, it's the second best quarterback in the league. What do you expect?
And a team that is on fire right now.
Yeah. The Chiefs are good. And it's going to be an AFC championship of Bills and Chiefs.
Most likely.
You hope.
Yeah, I'd love another rematch.
I would, and don't bring a coin out. Josh Allen will fucking probably
He'll steal the coin.
Yeah.
Run to the sideline.
But Patrick Mahomes does Patrick Mahomes things. Travis Kelce, the ultimate, safety option. This team is scary, and they're playing out of their fucking minds right now. And I didn't think CMC should have started for the 49ers. I mean, get him a little acclimated, to your offense.
It's not the quarterback position. I mean, here's the running plays. It's not rocket surgery.
Just give him a quick package and put 6 plays together. If you flip them, it's 12.
I mean, like Coach Red said earlier.
Double down.
But like Coach Red said earlier, they've got a running back room that can do a whole lot. I mean, leave the load to them this week.
Yeah, and I said you got to get Debo and McCaffrey up to speed. Get McCaffrey up to speed and get Debo more integrated and get that more positionless.
You need to get him not running the ball. You need to get him to catch the ball.
I think that you do need to keep him running the ball. I think that you need to run him and McCaffrey. Run McCaffrey out of the slot. Have him do those sweeps. Have both of them go in the back. Have McCaffrey in the slot. Debo in the backfield. As a defense, what are you gonna do?
Nothing.
You have no clue because it's never happened before. But back to the tagline. It's all about the M's. It was all about Patty Mahomes and Mecole Hardman. Mecole Hardman clocks him with 3 TDs and he had 2 rushes for 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Come on, Mecole.
Breakout game. I mean, I've said it before that I think Mecole Hardman can be good. He's fast. He's very fast. He just has to catch the ball.
He's not as fast as Sky Moore, though.
He's not. And Sky Moore is not getting as involved as I thought he would.
He had one target.
That's crazy.
And what about that other dude that they got, Pacheco?
Isaiah Pacheco?
Yeah.
He led the team in rushing this last week.
Yeah, he kind of disappeared for a couple weeks.
That's what he does. But he also had a huge kick return, too. I think he got it out to the 40 or the 50 to put him in scoring position again.
I mean, this AFC.
Andy Reid is a goddamn genius.
Yeah.
He's always been a fantastic coach.
I mean, if Eric Bieniemy does not get a head coaching gig next year,
everybody should riot.
Yeah, we'll litter the streets.
Yeah, I'm with that. And the 49ers just couldn't do anything. Their defense, which is usually great, could not hold the Chiefs.
It was booty.
Yeah, they were. Like I said, the Chiefs were just firing on all cylinders. Did anything they wanted to do, they did.
That's
true. How you put up 44, 45.
But I think the best game of the weekend was the next game. And that's...
You say this every week about the Seahawks, I feel like. Every
no.
episode I've listened to, it's like, best game of the weekend.
No, I usually shit on the Seahawks. I'm shocked that they're playing this well. I'm absolutely stunned. But Seattle goes into LA and just absolutely just manhandles them. You had Ken Walker for what, 162?
Don't care.
160.
I hate Kenneth Walker so much.
I know you do. That's why whenever he does well, I make sure to text you and I'm like, oh wow, Ken Walker's looking better and better each week.
I should probably get this tagline out of the way really quick so Day doesn't riot on the podcast right now. But hello, Kenneth Walker was mine. And one thing that I see with Kenneth Walker is he looks a lot like Le'Veon Bell when he's running the football. Very patient. There's sometimes where that patience is his detriment with a couple of negative runs where the area of the defense that the Chargers really tried to focus on was their run defense. And there were times where they just shut him down, but there were times where he just kind of hides behind the line a little bit, waits for the blocking to set up, one cut and go, which you saw a lot out of Le'Veon Bell when he was with the Steelers. And I think you're seeing that a little bit with Kenneth Walker early on in his career. He's a very patient runner. But I think the ultimate detriment for this game was the Chargers pass catchers, because Keenan Allen, this was supposed to be his coming out party. Like, Keenan Allen has missed more time than Brian Robinson, who got shot in the leg.
Oh, trust me, I've seen that meme.
Oh, I know. But the thing is I saw him a little bit in the first half, and he was nowhere to be found in the second. And you're sitting there, Mike Williams gets rolled up bad late. Which
That's a nasty, severe ankle sprain, and then it was a possible MCL tear.
God, yeah, I wish him the best recovery, because that guy is one of the best contested catch guys in all the NFL. But I mean, you were running high pressure, high leverage situations to Michael Bandy, who it was his second practice squad call up and got cut today. That was the guy that he had one catch for -5 yards, and he was targeted about 8 times during that game, and he caught one of them for -5 yards.
Yeah, it's funny. I was gonna say it's funny. I got 2 points for what you said. You mentioned that you see Le'Veon and Kenneth. It's funny because they went to the same school, so it makes a lot of sense. But
it's different coaches at the time, because Tucker
different.
was a former Alabama guy.
Yeah, D'Antoni was at Michigan State with Le'Veon, but it's still the same school. But the holes he's been able to run through is just and break these 60-yarders. Was that 3 weeks in a row?
Yeah.
And
back-to-back weeks he's had 4 carries of 10+ yards.
Exactly. And then the Keenan Allen thing with you saying he had some targets in the first half, then fell off in the second half. Look at that Chiefs game when Herbert broke his ribs. Mike Williams had like 6 catches for 110 yards and a touchdown, I think, in the first half of that game. What did he get in the second half?
Nothing.
I don't know what the.
No, he got one late. Was that him or Palmer that caught that late one after Herbert was like running to the line and just kind of like chucked it down because.
And then he threw a bullet.
Yeah, rips a pass 35 yards on a dime between 2 defenders.
And that's like, one thing I see.
Baby goat, right? Baby goat, is that what you guys call him?
That's what I call him.
This is the one. Like, I know you love Justin Herbert. I will
give Justin Herbert some love, but I'm not throwing up that.
I will.
I just feel like
I'm aware.
This year he's been dealing with the rib thing, all that. Keenan Allen being out, but he's just being super inconsistent. He's not.
Their offense as a whole is inconsistent because
it's the only person thriving is Austin Eckler.
Well, and he wasn't early in the season.
Exactly.
Josh Palmer didn't play in that game, which has been a big time target for him. So you look at that, they turn to Gerald Everett, who breaks off one extremely good catch and then goes quiet after that. I think he's a guy that even as a Seahawks fan, we saw glimpses last year, but we also saw the big deficiencies, like turnovers in the red zone by losing the football. Like Gerald Everett can get you big plays, but he won't give you that clutch play when you absolutely need it. And I think that's tough because when you look at the Chargers, even though they're in the spot they're at, sitting second in the division, I think that you look at them where their defense is improved, but not having Joey Bosa out there is hurting them right now.
But J.C. Jackson also tore his ACL on Sunday.
Yep.
And J.C. Jackson, I think that knee was troubling him pretty bad the week before when he got benched in the second half to pull out that win over the Broncos. But, I mean, here's the crazy thing. DK Metcalf and J.C. Jackson go down with knee injuries at the exact same spot in the field.
Yeah, and you know what's crazy? It's turf. They need to get rid of the turf.
I keep saying it.
Except for FedEx Field, because that place is a graveyard for ACLs. That's a different story, though. But all these ACLs and MCLs and Achilles are all just getting torn on turf.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want a quick opinion. How you liking the Geno Smith revenge tour?
I'm liking it.
He was barking at the Chargers sideline. Barking.
I would have been.
He has been
a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, I agree. From being on the bench for so long.
To make this point, I did tell Kane last night. I go, when you have a guy that's a career backup or considered a backup quarterback, you expect to get 500 football out of him. Right now, the Seahawks are sitting at 4-3. Geno Smith started 3 games last year and was 1-2, so he's playing exactly at a 500 clip. So the people in Seattle that are sitting there saying, extend Geno for MVP, like, you're catching lightning in a bottle right now. Yeah. I think that with Geno, he's been in the system. He's been a backup long enough. He knows the system. But I've also seen Geno make some really bonehead plays late in the game, and that's what you get out of backup quarterbacks. You don't have the confidence where you can sit there and, I hate to bring this to Russell Wilson, but you could plod through the first 3 quarters and sometimes have a bad game and then somehow pull it out at the end. I think that if Geno Smith is plodding through a game and not having a good game, he's not turning it on in the 4th quarter.
I don't think so
either.
He's going to be
that dude.
He, like you said, he's
big ups to what he's doing so far this year.
I'm waiting for the Geno Smith games to happen, to where he throws multiple picks a game. It's gonna come. I know it is, and it's fine.
But big ups to Asante Samuel Jr. The dude's playing out of his mind.
Right? Yeah. Without question.
And then you had Marquise Goodwin coming up with 2 touchdowns, and huge for him, especially after everything that guy's gone through in his life.
I loved the long jump celebration, an ode to his Olympiad.
Yeah, and Kenneth Walker again had a great day. But man, Tariq Woolen is that dude. He is really fucking good.
I've never said this on a podcast before, so you guys are the first ones to hear it. I've told this to coworkers. But when you get intercepted by Tariq Woolen, you have been reeked. And I said right before the game, because he was wearing a chain that said RIQ, right? Reek. And I'm like, Justin Herbert, prepare to be reeked. He was not.
But
because Justin Herbert's the baby goat.
That's true.
It's
very
fair.
true.
But man, the
he
Seahawks
just gets strip-stracked by Darrell Taylor. And Taylor's like, I might try to take this to the end zone. I don't want to get there though.
Sad.
But
sad.
This secondary for the Seahawks is looking good, especially without Jamal Adams.
Coming together.
It's looking good, and I kind of wish Jamal Adams wasn't on our team because he keeps getting injured.
Our team.
Hey, yeah, it's our favorite team. So you shut the fuck up, Ben.
I didn't know you were on the team.
I trust me. I'm a big fan of the Chargers. They're one of my favorite teams. Those powdered blues are looking crispy.
Oh yeah.
Right? But I mean, the thing is that you really look for them to step up in the clutch, because I think the best regular season game of the year last year was Raiders versus Chargers, week 17. That was must-see TV, and Justin Herbert just couldn't push them over the edge, and that's why you take a guy in the top 6. I think he was drafted 6 overall. So I think 205. Yeah.
I think he was taken, I want to say 10. He was a little lower than that.
Yeah, he was taken a little later.
Yeah.
He was taken right after Tua. Because you had
they were at 9.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because you had all the Tua guys that are like, oh man, in Dolphin country, if we had Justin Herbert, we'd be winning Super Bowls by now. But I think that
he was pick 6.
Huh. Don't at me on drafting. I've got a pretty good acumen on that.
He is.
But if you really look at it, you're looking for Justin Herbert and those Chargers to come up in clutch time. And where are they sitting right now? 4-3.
Yeah. But they've been blown out twice at home. Once by the Jaguars and once by the Seahawks.
So another big thing, though, is they've always been a defense away. And their offense has always clicked. It's always clicked.
Defense has the pieces to do it.
Right, they do.
The biggest issue with them was their run defense, and they loaded up there. You bring in Khalil Mack. I think that not having Joey Bosa, you got Sebastian Joseph Day, who's also a clutch guy for that team. I think that you're sitting there with the Chargers as a whole I think their defense is going to be fine when you let this group minus Joey Bosa meld together a little bit more. But I mean, Derwin James is that game changer, and he didn't change the game on Sunday.
No, I think what also hurts on the offensive side, at least, they lost their right tackle a couple weeks ago for the season that they just drafted in this past draft. That hurt.
Yeah.
Because he was actually playing well.
But, I think the Chargers will be fine. They're still in a stacked division. You have to beat the Chargers or
I wouldn't
Chiefs.
call the AFC West right now a stacked division because you have two teams in that division that have a combined 3 wins. So
that's true. That's true. Well, preseason, that's got him. So Sunday night wasn't very exciting either.
I fell asleep.
That was depressing because usually the Sunday night game is pretty good. So
I mean, the ending was exciting from what I saw.
I didn't watch it. I was in bed.
There was no point scored in the second half. 0.
But I'm saying that the Steelers had a chance. Yeah. It was exciting.
Kenny Two Gloves, baby.
God, he sucks so much too. Oh God, he went to Pitt. Why would you draft a guy from Pitt?
Here's my tagline for this game. You can't win a game in the first quarter. Oh wait, you can. Because the 13 points in the first quarter by the Dolphins with Tua in his return, that won the game.
Yeah,
so disappointing.
I mean, this
Kenny Pickett this is the other thing I said. Kenny Pickett needs more time on the pine. The guy's played in 4 games and he has 7 picks. And touchdowns.
3 of those are Chase Claypool's fault. They tipped his hands, and one was at the end of half.
Chase Claypool might, from some indications I've been reading, Chase Claypool might be finding his way to go hang out with A-Rod up in Green Bay.
I have seen
catch the ball.
I have seen that, and Claypool has just terrible hands. He could be fantastic. He's got the size.
He should go play corner.
I mean,
George
you're not
Pickens
wrong.
is really good though. That he made another outstanding catch.
I think that he's really good too. I mean, you just got to get a quarterback that could throw him the ball.
Yeah.
And I don't think Kenny Pickett or Mitch Trubisky or Mason Rudolph is the answer.
No, I think they wasted that draft pick, but that's just my personal opinion.
They really did. And in Tua's return, I mean, this offense didn't look good.
Mostert didn't look horrible.
But
I mean, you had Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. I think both of them were over 75 yards a pop. And that's what you expect to see.
Exactly. But at the end of the day, get in the end zone. You have the two of the fastest guys in the league. Get them the ball. They're going to make plays. Jalen Waddle is absolutely nasty when he's running into people because he'll just juke you out of your shoes. And then you have Tyreek, who will just run past everybody. But Tua just has to get the ball on his mark.
That's why you have to really focus. And I think that with McDaniels being there, I think the over-the-top plays, you never saw that in the San Francisco offense. No. I mean, it's all short and intermediate game. Let your playmakers make play with their feet. You get speed. You get all these things. But one of the main things I've seen is Mike Gesicki on the trade block, which is crazy because he's had some production. But at the same time, if you really look at Mike Gesicki's individual stats, his separation is so terrible and does not fit what this team does at all. If you can trade Gesicki to a team that has a more speedy tight end and get a draft pick, even if it's a no-name guy, I think that you will get more production in this offense.
I agree.
Yeah.
Because I think Gesicki's good.
Well, he's good at catching the ball. He's just not good at separating.
Everything.
Right.
He's like today's Zach Ertz, with Zach Ertz in his prime. Ertz would go get to a spot and get open, but he couldn't break away from it. He has great hands, and a guy's draped all over him, and you get 6 to 8 to 10 yards a pop. Great, but Gesicki's never going to run away from a guy.
No, he won't. And it would be interesting. I mean, we're going to see that here soon. We have 6 more days till the deadline, and so you're gonna see a lot of big name people go. And
I don't think you're going to see as many as you think. It's still the NFL.
That's what I said. It's football.
Like,
It's not
I know.
You've seen your big guy move.
Right.
Yeah.
Big guy's gone.
But
Von Miller's not going anywhere this year.
No, he's not. But our last game of the week was yesterday, and it was Bears-Patriots, where the Patriots rolled out with Mac Jones and then benched him. So, and their only 14 points was Bailey Zappi.
That's his first 2 drives in the game.
Yeah. And he's
nodding his head to Stacy's mom.
He was jamming out to Stacy's mom. And then they couldn't put up any more points, and all the Justin Fields lovers are coming out of the woodwork seeing like, I told you he was good.
He's not, I promise you. He went to Ohio State. Ohio State does not produce good quarterbacks. Joe Burrow doesn't count because he finished at LSU.
That's
I
fair.
had that same conversation. I also said something else that was a little bit more morose, but I'm not going to bring it up on this podcast because I don't want it going out loud.
But the Bears finally, their running game looked like it should with David Montgomery and who's that backup?
Herbert.
Yeah.
Herbert.
Like, they both had great games.
243 yards total on the ground for the Bears.
What's your
Which
tagline?
leads me to my tagline: "Run, Forrest, run."
That's a good one to end it on.
Justin had 82. He led the team.
I mean, it's just another guy like who's just gonna run around the whole time. It's what he does.
Yeah, there's a difference though between like him and Kyler. Justin runs and smart.
Well,
He's
he
very
runs
smart
out
with
of
his runs.
preservation because
Yeah.
that line is terrible.
Well, there's that, but he at least has the knowledge to slide, get
That's
down,
fair.
get out of bounds, just kill it, just take his 2-3 yards he got instead of an 8-yard sack, and just go on from there.
Yeah, it's just it's tough to see because he was a first-round pick, and it's just been nothing but bloodshed for him. He's basically always running for his life, and that goes to my statement I always say, hey, if you keep your quarterback up, you win games. So
that's the issue when you're not investing in your offensive line.
I don't know what they're investing in.
That's a good point.
Like,
Nothing.
Like, they don't get better on offense in a year, and they're consistently in the top 15 picks.
But half the time they trade out.
They also
trade up.
don't get any better on their defense.
What are you talking about? Kyler Gordon, second round, baby. They really invested heavily this last year. Jaquan Brisker out of Penn State and Kyler Gordon out of the University of Washington. Safety corner. I think that with Matt Eberflus, they're really trying to get this defense dialed in because when you looked at the time when they tried to go offensive heavy and they didn't really put pieces together except let's just try to keep re-signing Allen Robinson and that's it, and get David Montgomery, the rest will work itself out. It never did.
No, it didn't. They also haven't had a quarterback in years.
Yes,
Mitch
Jay
Trubisky.
Cutler.
No, you're Mitch Trubisky had what
Kyle
one?
Orton.
He had one good year.
Rex Grossman.
The double doink.
Yeah,
It was a double doink year.
good old Cody Parker. But this Patriots team did not look like they have.
I said the
Well, they
Patriots
played the
have
Lions,
an identity
so-
Yeah,
crisis.
That's
they did not look like this offense that Bailey Zappi has been just unloading the ball to.
Oh, I'm not talking about the offense. I'm talking about the defense. In the previous 2 weeks leading up to the Bears, who I think we can all say are a little bit inept on offense, they gave up 15 points combined in the previous 2 weeks to the Lions and the Browns, who have both shown a lot of potential on offense. And then they gave up 33 to the Bears. And this is a double entendre because Have you guys looked at pictures of Bailey Zappi and Mac Jones right next to each other?
Yeah,
they're identical.
They came from. I mean, you might as well go see Zach Wilson because I think they came from the same Morgan family.
I think he killed him.
That was a good one. I'll give you that one.
But this week was really good, actually. There's a lot of fun games in there. But
Well, you know what's really sad for next week?
What's that?
There's only one matchup against 2 winning teams.
Oh. That's going to make it even more interesting.
I don't know who the matchup is. I just know that fact.
I know one of them is the Seahawks versus the Giants. Just
That's
two
probably the
teams
only
that
one.
you both expected to have winning records at this point of the season.
Yeah, it's wild. But anyway, guys, I think that's going to do it for this one. If you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and leave a like down on the video. And comment
Hammer it.
question of the day is, with the Chiefs' dominant win, are they the favorites to go to the Super Bowl this year over the 49ers? Like, them playing that defense, hey, it's good. It's really good. But they absolutely dominated them. Give us your kind of top 5 teams right now. If you listen on Spotify, go ahead, give us a review. Tell us how we're doing. Also, go check out Kicking It with Coach Red, hosted by Coach Red and Lefty. Good old Lefty France. But, anyway, guys, I think that's going to do it for this week, and we will talk to you guys later.